How diggity dog did they stick to the lore, the mythos, the craziness? We're talking Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. Welcome to IJustWatched. I'm Joseph, but you know this. Let's get into it. Spoiler warning if you haven't seen it. Just letting you know, fair warning. Let's go. Right from the jump. I don't know everything and I don't know a whole lot when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons. I do know a bit. I can kind of hold the beginning of a conversation, and then when like the real fans and like they start giving me real facts, I'm like, glazed over. All right, I'm like, oh my god, that sounds beautiful. What is that? But one thing I did love about this movie from the jump is that they just went for it. And it's I've talked about it before. I love when they do that. Like, okay, you have source material. Not only do they stick to pieces of it, but they're like, let's just commit. We're living in this world now. Let's just take off and run with it. The people who know. The people who don't are gonna get enough to get by and enjoy the show, you know? So having the lore with all the mythos, the monsters, the creatures, the dragons, the dungeons, like the stupid gelatinous cube, all the little small details that just kept hitting me, or like the creatures. I remember when I was sitting there watching it, I was like, why does that creature sound familiar? And then I heard someone next to me go, oh shit, no, they did not include him. And I was like, I know, right? What's his name? I couldn't remember it. And then this is in the middle of the movie. He looked at me and he was like, what? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. This movie is a fun movie. It's a good movie. Its rewatchability is fantastic in my opinion. This movie, again, if you know nothing of Dungeons and Dragons, you're going to have a good time. It's a fun story. Everyone kills it. I really love the dynamic between Chris Pine, excuse me, he's the prime one apparently, and Michelle Rodriguez, of all the Chris's. But their dynamic worked really well on screen, and I wasn't sure how it would work or how their dynamic would go down, but it worked really well for me. I like the story that they give us. I think everyone killed it, and it had funny moments. There was some semi-cheesy moments, but not like over the top or nothing too crazy. And again, one of the biggest things I could give to this movie respect-wise is they said we're doing practical effects, and they stuck to it quite a bit. There's some beautiful CG. There's some CG that needed to be revised. It wasn't enough to make me be like, ew. It was like, cool, whatever. Like, they're doing some really good CG, but then more so, the practical effect use was beautiful for the different creatures and the monument. Just everything they went in when it came to design and just trying to build this massive world was amazing. And then the thing is, you can give us more in the world of D&D, and it has nothing to do with these characters because it's so massive. You can use different lore, different characters, different schemes, different stories, different monsters and such. You have a decent amount of room. It's almost limitless. But I really enjoyed it, and I was genuinely surprised. I think the only part that didn't sell me entirely completely was because everything else was so enjoyable, so fun. And like I said, I really think the rewatchability on this is big time high because I enjoyed it. I like the humor. I'd watch it again for the story, for the practical effects. Simon, the Justin Smith, he did good. He did a good job, but it was just his character, because his character is such like a lack of confidence having character. He's so just like, he hates himself. And I was like, man, I don't need this kind. I was like, oh, like everyone's being like, just believe in you, bro. Like, damn it, do it. It wasn't bad, but like everything else was so good that would probably be my nitpick. Don't get me wrong. I don't think this movie's winning any awards. But damn, if it's not a good time, go here and enjoy it. Enjoy the story. Enjoy the connection to the characters, the humor, and the world that it builds. I definitely would recommend this movie. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, check it out when it dropped. I really enjoyed it through and through. The obese dragon and the humor. So homeboy, I can't remember where I've seen him, but I think it's Zank. It's Jean Page. He was funny because his humor, like he was, you know, when they when they first started with Drax. I apologize. When they first started with Drax, the humor, like he took everything at its meaning. So everything was going over his head, and he goes, it wouldn't go over my head. My reflexes are too fast. I'd catch it. In that same sense, this character has that, and it's hilarious as it plays out through the movie. They didn't dumb him down. They didn't do anything to his character. That's just how he operated. So it's funny to see everyone else around him be like, he knows that's not what we meant. But then every now and again you see him smirk like he kind of knew. Little details like that were fun. The having Homegirl come out as the owl bear was dope. I highly love that. Again, I want to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns. I really enjoyed this movie. I can again see more from these characters, but I can just see more of this world because they just dived into it. From what I heard is like people who really play D&D, who love D&D, who know it, are enjoying the fact that they're dropping so much like real lore and real things, the way they look and such. But again, I want to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns. I love hearing from you. But until next time, stay safe, be well, y con mucho amor. Adios.